Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you the history between me and my worst enemy. And I know that's a very controversial thing to say because a lot of people these days believe that you can't have an enemy in 2024. You can have a rival or you can have someone that you strongly dislike, but enemy is a more stronger word that should be reserved for, someone who killed your parents or stole your throne. But in my case, I feel like enemy is the correct word. And so I'm going to tell you everything that happened up to this point, and you can be the judge of whether or not I'm right or wrong, but I think I'm right. So, to begin with, back when I was in med school, whenever I didn't have classes, I would go to my best friend's house in the mountains. Now, he lived in a very, very weird little town. And the reason I say it was weird is that it was very small, and it was very isolated, and 98% of the people who lived there were descended from the same 14 families hundreds of years ago. And so, dare I say it, it was also a little bit incestuous. It was very much one of those places where, this is a local place for local people. It was very hills have eyes sort of vibes, but much cuter. There was a kid in the village named Drest Levesque. Now, Drest, he was a year older than me, but he looked and acted much, much older. And like I said, this is a very small town, and small towns have a tendency to get bored. So for entertainment, some people turn to gossip, while others turn to more sinister pastimes. And the earlier tends to feed the latter, and there was never any lack of rumor when it came to Drest Levesque. Some people said that he liked to torture small animals, that his parents and siblings had to lock their bedroom doors before they went to sleep at night. One of the first times they went to the village, there was a rumor going around that Drest was responsible for hanging cats from the tree branches like Christmas ornaments. And I asked him about this once, and he said, just don't bring any cats around him. Look, it might have been a very small, homogenous town, but we weren't stupid. Even back then, we all knew that Drest was a certified psychopath. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that in a DSM case study sort of way. First time that I ever met Drest Levesque, well, actually, not the first time, because the first time that I ever met him was on my wedding night, and I didn't know who or what he was at the time. But the second time that I ever met Drest, he stomped on a chicken's neck, threw his head back, and laughed. Again, living in a tiny Pondak sort of village, we just did not have the societal frameworks to deal with this sort of thing. So getting him the help that he needed was just not a feasible option, and so for the most part, people just said a prayer for him and called it done. At one point, as the only outsider person in the village with any medical training, so the only person not related to Drest in one form or another, I was asked by the council to talk to Drest about his feelings, and that went over about as well as putting a band-aid on a grease fire. I flash forward many, many years, and we arrive here, and I know that when we first arrived here, he did some freelance work before someone in the military noticed his, let's say, talents, and offered him a special assignment in a black budget project specializing in interrogation techniques, which is just a fancy way of saying torture. I don't think there's any official record of any of this, and the only reason that I know it is that he told me all this one night to pass the time when he was forcing me to dig my own grave at gunpoint. Luckily, Deputy McIntosh intervened before he could follow through with his plans, at least with me. My co-worker Michelle was not so fortunate. But anyway, she arrested him, and that was all well for a couple of days. A couple of days after that fact, Drest escaped captivity and ever since has been a very wanted but elusive fugitive. Sometimes he calls me at work to remind me of the good times that we've had together and remind me that he'll be seeing me again very, very soon. I don't know if it was luck so far that has kept me alive, or if he's just, his sadistic personality just wants to drag it out as long as he possibly can. In all honesty, I think it's the latter, because if he wanted to kill me, there's not really much that I could do to stop him, even if I wanted to. He knows how to break into the clinic, even when we lock all the doors. He's done it a couple of times, and we still can't figure out exactly how he's doing it. Not to mention that I once saw Drest nearly get his head cut off halfway and bleed out on the floor, and yet he still managed to come back like an evil Jesus without really any serious damage permanently. And so I guess even that, if I wanted to take that option, it's not really an option. Right, tonight, Drest called the clinic to tell Ash to tell me that he's back in the country and we will be seeing each other again very, very soon. So the reason why Drest wants to kill me, let's just say that maybe I deserve it. or maybe I don't, and let's just leave it there.